followed by Linda Harrison, followed by
Madam,
Henny.
could you call? Madam Chair, he was already on.
I'm sorry, sir. Could you please state your name for the record?
Yes, my name is Steve Zeltzer. I'm with the United Public Workers for Action. I think that the question of the workers for the redevelopment agency should be a no-brainer. And that's why the legislature passed AB 126 to provide for these these state workers to transfer in to local agencies like the city and county of San Francisco. So they would be protected. They need to be protected. They need to be protected. They need reciprocity. And the Board of Supervisors, under new Charter Proposition C, can, with a 3/4 vote, give them reciprocity. They changed the law under Proposition C, which really was an anti-labor proposition, saying that it required a 3/4 vote of the Board of Supervisors to get reciprocity for these employees to transfer their pension and their health care into a new city agency or a new government agency. The public employees of San Francisco need to have that reciprocity. But also, I think these employees are being jerked around by Mayor Lee and his administration. They're being hung out to dry. They're being picked and chosen. Who's going to get a job? They're being terrorized, really, as public employees about their rights. Why is that? Who's responsible? Nobody knows who's responsible. I say the city and county are responsible. They have a lot of money. They have billions of dollars. They need to take these employees and put them to work for the city and county of San Francisco, doing the work that they were doing, which is conducting the business of redevelopment and the agencies in San Francisco. And there's space for them in the city and county of San Francisco. But it means that the mayor has to step up and do his job. He's missing in action. That's what's going on here. And you're arguing about whether or not you have the authority. I would say, in the question of the agency and the workers who do that work, the work is going to continue to be done. Who is going to do it? I say the employees who've been doing it should continue doing it. That's who should continue doing it. Instead of being allowed to be picked and choose without seniority, without legal rights, labor rights, to have any control over their lives. So the city and county of San Francisco has a responsibility to defend the employees of the redevelopment agency. And I would add that other cities, such as Oakland, have the same issue. And they allow those employees to transfer in to city agencies to conduct their business, to do their job. Most of them. The city has the finances to do it. We, the people, and the workers of San Francisco demand that Mayor Lee do his job and allow these workers to continue on with their seniority, with their health care and their benefits. Thank you.
Oscar James, thank you for having this new committee. Anyway, I'm 100% in support of the last person who spoke. But I want to speak on this particular issue. The agency has contractors who want to get refinanced, who want to get that 2% interest rate. Only the staff that's on board right now can help them. If you put it into the city's hands, they're going to have to learn all about these projects and what have you. You have a staff that already have that expertise, who have had that expertise for a number of years. As a retiree from the agency, I know personally the dedication of your employees through the redevelopment agency. They're committed 100% in serving the city, and I think the city should blanket them in. They have done it in the past. And I also feel that the retirees' benefits, I know you haven't spoken on that yet, should be honored and carried out. The only reason people stay with the agency so long is because they had a health plan once they left the agency. The other thing I want to bring up is can this committee ask the mayor and the board of supervisors to have a joint meeting to deal with this particular issue? I think we should be going to the board of supervisors meeting, requesting them to have a joint meeting to deal with this issue, AB 26, and making sure the agency personnel get put onto the city and county of San Francisco, making sure the retirees' benefits are carried out and that they do have their benefits. And I'll be back up again later on to talk to you. Thank you.
4800 3rd Street in the Bayview, and then the 32 units in the Western Addition, known as the Fillmore Park condominiums. I've had the distinct pleasure of working with many of the members of the San Francisco Redevelopment Agency on both the residential side and the business side. One of the Bayview project actually has residences and these are residences for sale, and commercial retail space, which the mayor and many of the members of the city were out at the grand opening, the mayor's press conference last week. I am particularly concerned that not your commission, I can see that your commission is very sensitive to the support of this team. It's particularly important that this team move to their new assignment as a team in implementing and continuing the work that they have been so diligent about during this transition in terms of the programs. For the last 2 years, my interaction has been almost on a weekly basis with members of the redevelopment agency team. This is a complex job that they have over a period of time in terms of supporting the sales and the conclusion of those sales, the evaluation of those buyers, the coaching of those buyers, the communication between not only the marketing sales team, the developers, but the communication between the lenders. This is a complex job in an intensely different economic time in order to successfully conclude with having those units that they have supported financially and through the support of their work for it to actually be successful. And so we talked about this group being over in the mayor's office in separate entities or different jobs. It's really, really important that they stay together as an entity and that you support telling the mayor that they need this extension until June, because no one in my team has received any plan that tells us what the transition plan is from the mayor's office. And quite frankly, I don't think they know what the plan is or what to do. Thank you for your time.
I have one.
Good afternoon, my name is Henny Kelly. I live in San Francisco. I'm a retired teacher, and I'm the Sergeant at Arms at the San Francisco Labor Council. You know, I really believe that you do have power. You just have to keep asking the questions until you get to the right question to get to the right answer. But you can solve this problem in your two resolves by changing them. I see that you are trying to do the right thing. The layouts should be rescinded until June 30th. You have no plan. Your job is to give the city a plan that can work. There is no plan that can work if these workers are laid off on March 15th. You heard that. You know that. I believe you believe that. It is your job to tell the mayor and the board of supervisors that in order for you to do your job and go with these 5 projects that are in your purview, the mayor and the supervisors need to act intelligently. Not just compassionately, but intelligently. They need to take that layoff date and move it till the end of the fiscal year in June. Even if what you're doing is not quite in your legal purview, this is your responsibility to do. Because if you don't do this, and you don't make yourselves clear, and you don't push for this, what the heck are you doing up here? Because your job will be made so much more difficult. It's not just the right thing, It's not just the just thing, it's not just the smart thing, but it is the only thing you can do so that you, members of this board, of this commission, can do your jobs.
Can you hold up on the copy so we can move on that? Thank you.
Good morning, members of the board. First of all, I appreciate you being here. I know your job is not easy, but I feel very confident in your serving us, because I believe you're in search of the truth and answers. My name is Leah Berlanga, and I'm the field director for SEIU Local 10-1, overseeing the redevelopment agency representing them, the folks, the members of SEIU 10-1. And first and foremost, you know, I want to point out that your title is an Oversight Committee. That means something. Oversight, I mean, you have to oversee this entire process, how we transition. Unfortunately, since the successor agency took over, there has been absolutely no transparency whatsoever.
No.
And I'm talking from a position where I'm in the front lines, meeting directly with the city, with the so-called successor agency. We have asked simple questions like, what projects are going to move forward? Simple questions like that, because we know that along with the projects are the staff. You cannot separate them. They go hand in hand. And the reason for that is when AB 26 passed, there was two provisions that were very clear, and they were made for one, the projects and the staff. But yet those two, we have absolutely no answers for right now. When we ask the city and county of San Francisco, tell us what projects are moving forward so that we then as a union can identify how many staffing positions, you know, we can fight for. They have given us nothing to this day. We're talking about 15 days we have left to try to save jobs, and they have given us nothing. When we ask for simple questions like, who's going to actually be laid off? They can't tell us that. They look at a stone face and tell us, we don't know. And when we ask them, are we going to know by March 29th? We hope so. That's their response to us. That's unacceptable. In all my years representing people at the bargaining table, I have never, ever, you know, witnessed, you know, the lack of transparency, you know, insensitive at the table, insensitive, I mean, even, you know, just simple questions we can't get answers to. And we're talking about people that we're representing that have spent decades making sure that these projects were successful. And we're going to get into the 5% when that comes up, because that's a whole other issue. And yes, you have the authority to at least make sure that everything is transparent.